I felt that Edward Watson's career has taken a very unusual and unique path. And at the end of his last performance of Ondine last week, the third one, he danced with Miyako, I decided to do something I think that any director loves to do, and that is to make a promotion after a performance while you're on stage, so that you're surrounded by the dancers of the evening. And I didn't, in fact, announce it to the whole company, but Miyako was giving him a hug at the time, and I said to him, "Miyako, do you realize you're hugging the newest principal in the Royal Ballet?" And Edward was completely confounded and said, the first thing he said to me, "Was I sure?" And I said, yes, of course, I was absolutely sure. So I'm really delighted that he's now a principal dancer.
Miyako Yoshida and I were taking our last curtain call, and we were just talking to each other, and then she just appeared and told me, so it was a huge shock. I think the whole British principal thing means more to a lot of other people than it really does to me. I mean, obviously being a principal means a lot to me, but I think the fact that I'm British sort of means different things to different people. I'm just happy I'm one of them. I find the Ashton rep particularly, it is challenging. Each role is very different. I mean, he has sort of his signature steps and his style is always there, but in terms of his male roles, you can very much define them by who they were created on. There are very much Anthony Dowell roles, and there's Michael Soames roles, and so, you know, something like Ondine, Palamon and Ondine is completely different from Oberon in the Dream, and I mean, they're very different stories as well, but they're very much sort of shaped by their creators, I think. Dancing Oberon, the biggest challenge for me personally was the combination of its speed and its control. It's quite an Ashton thing, and also an Anthony Dowell thing. You know, he could move very quickly and turn very fast, but also had this sort of incredible line and control. And you find all of those things in the Dream quite to an extreme level. The pas de deux is kind of the moment where, I mean, she's sort of oblivious to what he's done to her throughout the ballet, but he's forgiven her because, you know, they've fallen back in love, and it's sort of a bit of a reconciliation, pas de deux. And there's different moments in there where, you know, she melts into his arms and he forgives her, and, you know, it's that kind of completes the story in a way. It's really good that I work with different people. They can tell me different things. Like, say, example, with The Dream, I've worked with Leslie and Johnny Cope and Anthony Dowell and Antoinette Sibley. I mean, they're all offering different opinions, and it's amazing to have all of those things to draw on. I think it's really important.
I think Edward Watson so deserves being promoted. He's done wonderful work, and funnily enough, in a sort of, as he was saying himself the other day, in rather a sort of, not a held-back fashion, but he hasn't gone zooming ahead into these roles. He's done them very slowly, very quietly.
As the years have gone by, he's developed a very unique place in the company, particularly with contemporary work. But in the last couple of years, he's developed into a very fine partner. And he's also proved in the performances he's done this year in Ondine, when he played the role of Palamon, that he's capable of very fine, subtle acting, and also has learnt what some of us really regard as one of the most difficult things to do, and that is to stand still on stage, command the stage, and still allow the audience to see what's going on in your head.
Symphonic variations, you feel firstly very exposed. The set is very stark, and you're in white costumes, and, you know, there's not much of it. And it's quite serene to start with. It feels very calm, and you have to be really controlled, but it's actually deceptively really, really tiring and tricky, and I think it's hard to... There's also nothing added. There's nothing that it doesn't need. It's not fussy or elaborate. It's quite pure classically. I find everything difficult to start with. I don't find any style of dancing easy to do, and I think I just really like opening myself up to whatever style it is, and at that moment when you're in that studio working with that person, you open themselves up to what they want you to do, whether it be, you know, with Wayne McGregor or Christopher Wheeldon or Siobhan Davis or Ashley Page, all those people I've worked with. You just have to, it's not about me as a person, it's about what they want to see me do for them. And I always remember that you just have to give them what they want. Everything has surprised me. I think I learned very early on at the school that you can't ever expect anything. And also to a certain point only you yourself can make things happen, but it's all sort of down to other people's ideas and what they want for you. So I'm always being surprised here, and that's kind of what keeps you here, because you never know what's going to happen.